Ramblin man here. This is going to be a little bit longer video, but it's going to be worth it. I'm going to say some things that most people don't say because they're scared of backlash or what's going to happen to them. Or let's be honest, there's some people can say things without getting into trouble. Other people say things and they're judged right away. I think that's a lot of the trouble that we have right now with America. So I'm going to tell you what I did. So I went online and I like to post memes and things like that. Okay, so it's fun for me. I just stick it on there and on Facebook and other things, and just to give people a laugh and get them away from their normal everyday craziness. So I did a couple. One of them had to do with transgender, and for me, I believe there's a man and a woman. I don't believe God makes mistakes. So there's no reason for someone to go through and think they know better than God and try to change themselves from a man to a woman or a woman to a man. Now, however, they're not hurting me. So I don't care how someone wants to live. Just, but I have, first off, I do not have a hateful heart or a hateful bone in my body. If you know me, if you're my friend and you know me, then you know what I'm talking about. I care for people. That being said, I'm also a jokester and I like to throw things out there. And you may not know me, and you may look after this video or after some other video and say, you know what, I don't want to know this guy. He's a total dork. And I can't promise you I won't cuss this video because I'm very passionate about this. I don't think I will, but you never know. It could just slip out, and I'm sorry. I apologize now. So don't let your kids watch it. It's not really for them anyway. It's for you adults. It's for those that are watching this and understand what is really going on. So beyond that, though, I thought it was a funny thing, and I got some backlash for it. And I say backlash, people that just don't understand and know me. Were like, really, Jeremy? But I'm like, it's not going to stop me from being me. I always say, I have friends. I have lots of friends and love them dearly. I just love people in general. So let's get that out of the way. Now, if you're still watching this, keep watching because I'm going to touch on some things that are not fun to address. They're uncomfortable. And for me, I'm at the point where I don't care. I want people to know that what we're doing to our country is ridiculous. I posted after the Prince Harry and Meghan interview with Oprah, there were a bunch of memes going around with Oprah. So I post one. And you can look this up. Look it up if you want to online. I was going to post the link, but you know what? Just look it up. All you got to do is put digital blackface. So first off, if you think about, everyone is so worried about race and so walking on eggshells about offending black people that there's so many more races out there than just black people. Anybody that's non-white, anybody that's non-black. There's so many. We're a melting pot here in the United States. And it's frustrating to me that if you're white, you're considered a racist. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not a racist. If you want to label me that way without really knowing me, and if you really know me and you still think that, you got maybe we're not friends. But just listen to what I have to say, and I want you to comment and let me know. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can get all my videos, and I want to hear from you guys. I really do. But here's the thing. I posted this meme with Oprah, and I don't remember what it was about even. I think it had to do with daylight savings time and you get an hour, you lose an hour, whatever. You know how when she used to have her show, she'd go, you get a car and you get a car. So I found a meme and I did that. And one of my friends, I had no idea that this even existed. One of my friends says, what you did was digital blackface. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, that's what they're calling it. And some nonprofit or whatever is talking about digital blackfacing because I didn't even say white. It says a non-black person using a meme with a black person in it is digital blackfacing. Guys, this is getting so ridiculous. I just want And so I guess I'm guilty of it. I don't even know what I did wrong. If it were a white person I did, they'd be like, well, you're okay because you put a white person on the meme. It's okay. Guys, I make fun of everyone. And I'm telling you right now, I love people. And if you've ever just been around me, I don't care if you're gay, if you are transgender, if you are black, yellow, white, brown, red. I don't care what color you are. You're either a piece of crap or you're a good person. And I'm telling you, they come in all shapes and sizes. I've met with people that look like they're all tatted up, sweetest person ever. Then I've met people that look like they're all in a clean suit and they're a total ass. And there I go. I said ass. I'm sorry. But I'm just telling you, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to do with race. It doesn't have to do with gender. It has to do with what that character that you have as a person is. And if I post something on my Facebook and I think it's funny and you're really offended by it, I'm not going to please everybody, and I'm sorry. But I'm still going to post stuff because it's funny to me. So if the I forget what they are, the director of health or whatever, I guess she whatever, they're trans, and I posted it and it said something about, if this is a woman, then this is a fishing pole, and I had a picture of a gun. So I thought it was funny, but that's just me. Now, let me go through a few things right now. I wanted to address racism right now because why? Because you hear the word so much right now, it's lost a lot of its clout. When I was a kid growing up, I mean, we played the kids out in the street. We didn't care what color you were. All we cared was, hey, do you have any cool toys? And where do you live? Because is your house bigger than mine? Do you have a big yard? And do you have a dog? Because those are the things that are important to a kid. We could care less. Are you black or white? I could care less. It was fun, okay? We just went and played. Why can't we get back to that? Because I'll tell you right now, people say all the time, I don't think it's getting any better. Let me tell you, it's getting a lot better. Just in the last 5 years, though, it's been a total switcheroo because of things. Let me tell you, okay, so Kaepernick started all this crap with kneeling, okay, because of police brutality. Now, it would have been great if that was all it were, if it were police brutality, and then we could have said, you know what, we do need some reformation with the police departments, because I've always said it, if you're a great guy or a piece of crap and you join the police force, you're either a great guy with a gun or you're a piece of crap with a gun. It doesn't change who you are. It just now you carry a gun and you're supposed to uphold the laws. Doesn't mean you always do, because you're still people, and people have faults. So, that being said, instead of just going after police brutality, it became police brutality against black people or those of color. And if you look through the news, you find where a police officer shoots a white man and never makes the news. Shoots a black man, it's all over. Like, let's put on our helmets. And you know what I'm talking about. The other part that really bothers me is it doesn't stop with just white officers. If a black officer shoots a black man, now it's like, oh, see, the police are out there. It's not like you join the force and it's like, hey, you're a black officer. So what I'm going to ask you right now is, are you racist? Are you willing to shoot your own kind? What do you mean our own kind? Well, if a black man comes toward you, you're going to shoot him? Because that's what we do here. That is such bullcrap. And that's what it makes it sound like. Ever since Kaepernick knelt, the whole message was lost. It should have been about police brutality and reformation, which was needed. It still is needed. But I'm telling you, to get lost in this, it's so easy because all of a sudden it became about Black Lives Matter. And what I've seen is that most of the complaining and the people calling racism are white or non-black. That's what I'm saying. Most of the people that are complaining right now about the racism are non-blacks. Think about all these protests, the Black Lives Matter. There were more non-blacks out there than black people. So I'm just saying, is there racism? Yes, it's out there. It exists. And it will, I don't know if it'll ever go away, because you always have a few bad seeds. But I'm telling you right now, what we're doing right now is we're making it worse, because like I said, kids, they just want to play. They don't care about, hey, that kid's he's darker than me. I'll give you a little story. My daughter goes to school, and she comes home, and she goes, can so-and-so come over? And I said, sure. And we would go pick her. I said, which one is she? She's the brown one. Well, crap, I don't know, because I live close to San Antonio, Texas, so there's a lot of brown ones. Plus, my kid's already dark anyway, because she's half Mexican. So, brown one, then it was a little black girl. She's the cutest little thing. And I'm like, okay, so that's who I'm taking with me, right? I've already talked to her mom on the phone, but when I'm talking on the phone, I don't know that she's black. I just know that I'm picking up this little girl. Kids don't see that and think, oh my gosh, we can't have her over because she's black. No, that's us adults being stupid. And we let media run us. We let everyone else run us. It's ridiculous. Let me give you a little insight, okay? All right, so I'm going to drop some facts on you. I hope you're still with me after all this because right now, y'all are just getting the basics of it, okay? So, you know, let me tell you a little bit about, it's not just about blacks, okay? It's not, I mean, whites have been discriminated against too. When the Irish came over, they were working on the railroad and they were discriminated against. Then, on top of that, then they decided, you know, a lot of those were leaving to go, you know, work on the railroad, the Central Pacific. And I'm sorry if you work for Central Pacific. I don't know if they even exist. I don't know. But I know that Central Pacific was the ones using some of the Irish, but they kept leaving to go to the silver mines. So they had this idea, maybe we'll try the Chinese because there were like 50,000 of them in California from the gold rush. And so we're like, you know what, we'll have them come help. Well, they got 50 of them just to see how it go, and they got 50 more. They're like, you know, that works pretty good. Well, what ended up happening was that they couldn't, is easier just to bring them straight from China. Well, when they brought them, they have no place to go, so they pretty much, in essence, own them. Now, they didn't make them stay, but they had to stay to make the money. And so, at that point, they're still with them sometimes, keep things from them. And at that time, the Irish were making about $40 a week, and the Chinese were making $30 a week. Well, they decided to hold a strike, and they're like, we're not going to, we want more pay. So they upped them to $35. Well, they still wanted to be paid the same. They still wanted that equality with the Irish. So what happens? They go through a strike again. Well, the railroad's like, forget this. They're going to overwhelm us. There's too many of them. There's like 15 to 20,000 of these Chinese, right? So they go through and they strike. Well, they just cut them off from food, like a hunger strike. They won't let them eat. And what happens? The Chinese are like, you know what? We have to eat. Let them back on there. They come back to work. So that they quelled that. I mean, just boom, just crushed it. And so by doing so, the Chinese still only got paid $35 a week. Well, the problem runs into this. After that was done, they put that final gold stake in there and the railroad's finished. Where'd those Chinese go? They were segregated. But you don't hear about them because why? Because they've kind of removed them from history. It's like you have to look it up and find that because it's not talked about a lot. You see it on TV shows and movies and stuff. So every once in a while you have the Chinese with their little huts and stuff over there and they're boiling water and stuff and tents next to the railroad. But you don't see it because it's been removed. We cannot keep removing all the history because once we remove that, it repeats itself. Because why? Because who's going to tell our kids? And in 50 years, somebody's like, you know what? I'm going to take over. Well, I mean, that's why it's so important to have the Holocaust Museum and things like that, because for the stuff in Germany to happen, you don't want that to happen again. You do not want that to happen again. And right now, let me tell you, the whole stuff with Rwanda, whenever they had the Tutsis and the two tribes, and one felt like they were better than the other, they're the same color. It does not matter about color. You're going to have this because people are evil. People are evil. But what I'm telling you is we make it harder on ourselves. Let me give you an example. We're talking about reparations and everything. The Native Americans, you know, the Chinese, we never gave them reparations. We just kicked them out and they just made their way over. A lot of them are over in California area, okay? Now, as far as the Native Americans, what do? We came through. All of us just came through and we go out there and boom, we just start killing them. And be like, you know what? We want this. We're going to take it. Manifest destiny. We're just going to take all this stuff as ours. Why? Because we say so. And we're bigger and badder and we can do it. And what happens is they start making false promises. The government starts making promises that, hey, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then they get some chief, not even the head chief, to sign stuff. Next thing you know, they're out in a reservation in the middle of nowhere. And so look at it now. You say, oh, yeah, but they have casinos. Have you been around the casino? You have a few prominent figures within the tribes. The rest of them, they're not doing good. I mean, they're living out of trailers out in the desert, and you have anywhere from 1.32 acres all the way up to 16 million acre reservations. There's like 320 or 340 of them, something like that, across the United States. But most of them are out in the West, and it's just like desert. It's just not. I mean, we've really done a disservice to them. And you're like, well, they could have free college if they're even ready for college at that point, because a lot of them live in squalor. So by the time they get ready to go to college, they either have a kid or because they're not in the situation. It's like people always describe the hood or the barrio or something, or just the trailer park. Let me tell you, it's not like white people don't get to grow up in the trailer park. I mean, I grew up with my aunts and things living in a little single wide trailer, all of them. And as things got better, they went up to houses and things like that. But I'm telling you, if you ever hear my story, I'm half Mexican. That's how the family is over there. All the people around them, like, pink houses and blue houses. Love it. But on the other side, redneck. I'm telling you, like, hey, man, want to come on over here? You know what I mean? It's love them to death. I'm just telling you, though, you don't know someone's story until you walked in their shoes. So don't sit on your high horse and judge unless you're in the arena, don't judge. Did you know right now, like people talk about, well, you know what, we came here to the U.S. and, as slaves. Well, it's very well, I mean, think about right now, black Americans, if their ancestors had not been brought over as slaves, they could very well be slaves right now. Because did you know, like, there's about 15 million, that's just on the top, 15 million slaves all across the world right now in other countries. Like, India has 8 million, China and Pakistan are in the 3 millions. You got North Korea with like 2.6 million. We're talking about slaves. Slaves. Nigeria, the Congo, they account for like 2.4 million. So in Africa, they have tribes that are warring all the time, and they take each other captive, and they become slaves. I don't understand why we live in a free country and people are trying to change things and say that things aren't better. Let me tell you, because for the longest time, you had slaves. Then they were freed, but still they were looked upon as less than, which is not true. And I don't understand that, because I live in a time where I see my friends and I'm like, they're no different than me. All these different people that I live in this melting pot with. And remember, I'm not exactly, I don't know if there's very many clean blood people. And I say clean blood like completely white. There are not very, very many of them. You have all these people with Aryan Nation. I'm like, dude, you ought to check your DNA and make sure, because some of you suckers are not white. You might be white in color, but that's about it. Just come on. You got to think about this. We've come a long way as a country, but we're getting in our way here at the end. We are getting in our way. And I'll give you an example. So, like in 1948, Harry S. Truman made it where it was no longer segregation allowed in the army. In the armed forces. 1950s, all of that was disbanded. Now it's just everybody's mixed in together. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying it was at that time, right? And now that I've been in the army, let me tell you, there's no segregation. We're just all stuck in there together. Go take a shower. All of us together, everybody. Yeah, it don't matter. Skinny, fat, it don't matter. You're like, well, you better just wash up and get out of the way, because otherwise you don't get a shower. You got to get in there and get out. You just throw them together. I'm not worried about what that guy looks like. I'm just like, dude, get out of the way so I can get some warm water before it gets cold. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous. The stuff we're doing right now, people are making it all about race, and I hate it. Let me tell you, after that in the armed forces, if you think about MLK, okay, he comes along and he's really strong in the 60s before his assassination, okay? He made great steps, and there's a lot of other people within that, like you had the Hank Aaron's and Jackie Robinson, all these guys coming through and making their way for baseball, and then you had guys in football, and it's amazing, right? So in the 70s, you see the disco scene. If you watch those movies, anytime you see like a disco scene, there are black and white people just dancing it out. They're booging it down. Because why? Because white people can't dance. Well, I say that. Some people can't, okay? But most time the black guy's like, you know what? Let me show you how to dance. I'm like, dun, 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 you know what I mean? Come on now. Now see how it is right there? That's what white people do that. And they feel like they're awesome. But they're not. Okay? But you know what I'm saying? Like in the 70s, people were all about the disco scene. And it wasn't like, you can't come in here. Nope, they're there to dance and party. That's all they cared about. In the 80s and 90s, what came around? rap, and everybody wanted to be black. They're like, you know what? That is so cool. I mean, now remember in the 90s we had stuff like 2 Live Crew and some crazy stuff that people were like going, what are you listening to? Because it was just like cutting edge, right on the edge. I mean, it was pushing the envelope. Then you come in the 2000s, and I want you to think about this. If you think about even to the 60s and 70s when there were pro sports, on the football teams, most of those people at that time were white. Everyone has, made their way. Now you have people from the Tongans all the way. It's very rare that you find other people besides just white or black. I mean, you find some Mexicans and things like that, but a lot of the pro athletes in football and basketball are black. And good for them. Who are the idols right now? I mean, you start thinking about basketball, what's the biggest controversy? Who's the best player? LeBron James or Michael Jordan? Those are your top two. One of the best golfers of all time? Tiger Woods. I mean, if he stays away from injury, that guy could just go on and on and on. Just think about this. If you think that we're not in a better place than we have been, and let me give you an example. When we're young, we heard the word racism, and I used to associate that with like terrible. Like, oh, someone's racist. I'm like, that is terrible. I never wanted to be called that because I was like, that's horrible. And then I heard the word bigot, and I was like, man, how can people be like that? I love all people, so how can people be like that? Well, it's easy. You have media coming to you and saying, ooh, you can't, that's called blackfacing, digital blackfacing, because you put Oprah on a meme. You know what? Screw y'all. Screw you. Any media group that just thinks more of themselves, screw you. Let's start making good decisions. How about instead of Cardi B, we put Candace Owens out there. She is a bad mofo. She's awesome. Love her. But is she not black enough for you because she's married to a white man? Or is it because Cardi B just puts it out there like that, let me just talk about my, Come on. We need to start making right decisions for our country and for our children. Our children are looking at us right now, and what are we doing? We're talking about racism when it shouldn't even be an issue. We're talking about gender when it shouldn't be an issue. How do you think there's 64 genders? You have a male and a female. Now, you're going to agree or disagree. Somebody's going to, because if you don't disagree, that means I don't have enough people watching me. So I hope you comment, and I had people, I talked about Californians coming to Texas, and I had people go there, I hate you. Okay, great. And then another guy say, not everybody wants to leave California. Well, then this does not apply to you, because I'm talking about Californians coming to Texas. So now I'm talking about racism right now. Quit making it about race because it loses its clout. Racism should be a bad word, not just something we throw around. I'm not racist. I know a bunch of you aren't either. But remember, racism is not about a white person judging a black person. Racism is across the board. If you have a problem with another race, you are the problem. And racism can run both ways, all the ways. It doesn't matter what race, what gender you are. If you are looking down at someone or completely rude and I'm so fired up right now. I'm so sorry, guys. I am so just pissed. I'm pissed right now because I hate the fact that I have brothers and sisters in the Army that will see my video and be like, bro, we're like this. I know that shit. That's what I'm telling you. Nobody here needs to go through and throw racism in everyone's face. There's no reason that you should walk around on eggshells. You should have a person that's non-white be able to say, hey, you know the difference? You know what crayons and people have in common? What's that? Nobody likes the white ones. You know what you call Mexican baptism? What? Bean dip. There, you should be able to tell a joke and people are like, dude, that's just hilarious. Because embrace who you are. If it's not out of hate, quit pointing fingers. And if you don't know if it's hate, and if you don't know someone and someone puts something on Facebook and says, hey, this is the way I feel, and all these people are responding to it like, haha, you're so funny, blah, blah, blah. And then you don't know the guy from Adam, but you decide, you know what? You're being racist. You don't know him. Maybe he's on there with a bunch of his friends and they have an inside joke. So I'm going to tell you right now like I see it. Racism is overdone. I'm finished with racism. If you want to be my friend, be my friend. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I really don't care. I don't care if you prefer men if you're a man and a woman if you're a woman. I don't care if you prefer to be a man if you're a woman, but you still want to be with a woman. I don't know, but I don't care. It's not going to affect me. All I know is God created all of us equal, and we are. Jesus wasn't white, I can tell you that much. People would be like, what? Jesus wasn't white? He wasn't black either. He was from the Middle East. And if you know where he's coming from, he might have been lighter complected. He might have been darker complected. I don't know. But, there was no one around sketching him at the time like, well, Jesus, do anybody have a little bit darker charcoal? We don't know what he looked like. I just know from where he's at right now, from where he was in the area of the earth, that he was going to be a darker shade, like a Middle Eastern man. And boy, do I love him. And he loves us. So I'm just telling you right now, be kind. Keep your loved ones close to you, and remember, not everyone's racist. Quit throwing that out there. And quit making up bullshit like digital blackface. Because I promise you, if you go to my Facebook at Ramblin Man on Facebook, you can request me as a friend if you want to. I'll be your friend. I'm still going to put some crazy crap out there. Some stuff may piss you off, and I'm sorry. But I will make fun of whites. I'll make fun of Mexicans. I'll make fun of blacks. I'll make fun of... It doesn't matter. You know why? Because I make fun of people. Because people are freaking funny. And they do stupid crap all the time. And if you're the president, I don't care if you're Biden or who you are, you're going to get made fun of. Because every president gets made fun of. Every president. So, all I'm saying is, guys, I love you guys. Don't ever forget that. If you know me as a friend, you know my heart. So you know it's in the right place, and I don't mean any harm. And there's no hate in here. But if you don't know me and you want to get to know me, go to my channel, subscribe. You can watch my other videos, and join my Ramblin Man Facebook. I'll talk to you. I'd love to hear from you. Y'all have a great day. Ramblin Man out.